everyone. Welcome back to Gistin' with the Dims.
You know,
I'm Nessa Baby.
And I am OD, Mr. Say It As It Is.
So,
but today, what are we talking about?
Wait, I just wanted to just say hello to the new listeners. Welcome. And you should go back to the first episode and listen to that first.
Yes,
if you're new. Welcome back for those that, listen to the first one. So we want to continue talking about relationships. Today's episode, you want to talk about, can men and women have a platonic relationship with each other, even though they're in a serious, committed relationship? Topic. So that's what we're going to talk about.
Okay.
We want to hear from you, what your opinion is about that, from your own experience, or from people that you know. And I'm going to talk a little bit about mine too. So yeah, what should I go first?
I mean, ladies first.
Okay. So I think that it's possible for men and women to have platonic relationships, even though they're in a committed relationship. But it all depends on the people. Some people might find it challenging. It also it could be because maybe their partner is too friendly and doesn't respect boundaries. That could be a reason why it could not work. It also could be the person that they're friends with doesn't respect the relationship and just becomes too, does things are just not comfortable, doesn't make the partner comfortable in terms of like calling randomly to talk about whatever issues you have, picking up the phone to call the person as if that's their man or woman, like at random hours, asking for help to come help for random stuff, like not acceptable.
Interesting.
Don't you think?
So my take on that will be, it depends, is my answer. So you kind of gave like some basis for it. You said the person is calling at random times,
or texting
at random times, and practically being intrusive on your relationship in some way or fashion. I guess that's what you're talking about, right?
Yep.
Okay. So in that case, my stand is that can be done and that can be acceptable, and that should never be acceptable. And in fact, it should not be a thing.
Exactly.
Right? But there are some cases where I think, as a rational person, right?
Yeah.
There are certain scenarios that can be acceptable, and I can explain.
Okay, go ahead.
So now, one scenario is where
I'd like to hear this.
Because
I know there are some scenarios, but yeah, go ahead.
A person, so assuming you have a friend, male or female, as someone that's already in a relationship.
Yeah.
And this friend doesn't create a nuisance. Basically, every once in a while, he or she would pop out and be like, hey, what's up? One or two questions here and there, one or two comments here and there, catch up here and there. And I'm saying, this is not a daily thing, it's not a weekly thing,
or just random,
and it's not like it's not like if I don't respond I'll be mad at you kind of.
Okay, yeah,
it's just kind of like, if, for example, if the guy or the girl messages you today, even if you don't send a message back to the person for the next 2 months, the guy or the person on the other side is not mad at you. That for me is a good and fine relationship.
Yeah, definitely.
Being that the person understands that there is a boundary and he or she is not priority because the other party is in a relationship. I think that's a healthy type of relationship.
Yeah, I agree.
Another thing I kind of can add on that is, if the parties that we're talking about are separated by a long distance, that also adds on these factors, or she can't actually also go out there.
I agree with that, but I also don't agree because even with a distance, it can still be a problem. Because you can send text messages, pictures, videos, FaceTime, it can still be a problem even though you're not actually showing up to the person's doorstep.
That's why I said that is an additional on the fact that the person is already showing all the attributes of a person who is maintaining respect for that relationship or maintaining the distance.
Yeah.
So this is an added, it's on top of, it's not independent.
Yeah.
Right? And then the last one also again is sexual attention. I know that's the elephant in the room, but most people don't want to address it. Because you have to understand that there are certain women or men you already have pre-existing sexual attention around.
Like nothing happened, but you just have that sexual chemistry.
You know that there is some kind of
tension or just an attraction.
It's an attraction
which is not human.
Exists,
it's normal.
Which it was never resolved.
Yeah.
So anytime you guys are in your space, you have that potential. Such a relationship is a problem. So my thing is, I kind of mentioned a few things here, which I feel if you are able to check mark these points, it's almost guaranteed that you'll be able to tell yourself it's fine for me to have or someone to have a friend or a friend in while still in the relationship. You can make that decision at that point once you can look at that list of items that I just highlighted.
And I have a question. Who you think should be the one to put the boundaries? Is it the person that's in the committed relationship, or the person that's in the committed relationship, or the person that is friends with the person that's in the committed relationship should know the boundaries?
It's both. And it's kind of assumed also that you guys have to be good enough friends for you to be trying to do that in the first instance, because there isn't even any point for you to be keeping that relationship or friendship if you guys are not really good friends anyway. So that means you people should have the ability to discuss, and certain so-called tough discussions should not be much of an issue to put on the table and trash out.
Yeah.
So first of all, it's both parties' responsibility to put that distance, right? And it's also an extra responsibility on the person that's in the relationship to also put the distance if the other party is not realizing.
So I have a question. Have you ever had a friendship with someone that you've had for many years of the opposite sex, that when you got into a serious relationship, it could be with me or it could be in the past, and it became uncomfortable, the way the person was acting, it became uncomfortable for your partner? Did you have to end that relationship with that person because the person was not getting it, that you need to like relax, chill, step back?
Yeah, I mean, you guys are not using this against me to be asking me questions.
Yeah, spill the beans.
But anyway, so my thing is,
I remember you did tell me that you cut off a lot of people.
Not like cut off a lot of people. I more like cut off a lot of channels. I didn't cut off people. I just cut off the channels, and practically, like, when you cut off certain channels, certain connects just die naturally. And to be honest, it wasn't the best thing to do. I then ended up cutting off people that I probably even didn't want to cut off. You know when you cut off a channel, right? Do you understand what it means by cutting off a channel? You're not cutting off the relationship with the individual, but you're cutting off the channel. So when you cut off a channel, it might be one individual in that channel, it might be multiple in that channel.
Also other people too, so that you
because
were
there's multiple
cool with.
The other people went with the so you see the difference. Say for example, like I'm on Facebook now and I have like 10 people on Facebook. It's one person or a few people in there that I don't kind of like friends. Really but I don't really kind of, but then there's like also people that I usually try to communicate with, but then by cutting off that channel of, say, Facebook is the channel now, I cut off Facebook, I end up cutting off a lot of people, or there are people who I don't really want to cut off. So you see how that can turn out, because that will kind of create enmity with somebody that you don't even have a problem with in the first instance. It's kind of like it's a double-edged sword. Anytime you try to do something like, say, it's a double-edged sword, but I don't mind it. It is life. You got to cut off channels or people or relationships at some point.
That's true.
That's just how it goes.
And I feel like also sometimes you don't cut off, because let's say, for example, for me, like, not a lot, but I have some family friends that are males that I've been friends with through family, known each other from when we were little, growing up. And possibly maybe were interested in me but never did, because it's like we feel like, we're kind of like cousins kind of thing, like, when you're growing up, how it is in the African culture, or
Yeah,
just
I know how it goes.
yeah. So they just remained in the friend, the friend zone. And for in that situation, like, they're not getting cut off. They're just gonna just stay in like the friend zone, basically, and in that platonic relationship side.
Yeah, but that's the reason why I say, like, in such a situation, that's kind of a little bit different in its own self, right?
Yeah.
The case I was kind of like alluding to are cases where there isn't a situation whereby this is like it's either you're my friend and you're around me and I keep in touch, or I don't. To be honest, like, let's be realistic. There's always going to be people you friend zoned, and there's always going to be people that friend zoned you.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who you are. But that being said, I kind of don't think, like, the example you gave with like you know them through your cousins, those are like people that will be in your life anyway, right?
Yeah.
Because of the proximity they have to your family interaction structure, let me put it that way, right? Like, if, for example, the reason I say that is, like, for example, say that you're a cousin of yours now that I know.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, has a friend. Let's even use that as that person has a friend, and that friend is very close to your cousin.
Yeah.
And because of how frequently he shows up at your cousin's, or is around your cousin being your cousin too, also is going to be around you quite a lot too as well. So for that reason, both of, now you have his friend in your space, you in his space, and if you guys already have something already going on or had gone on in the past, you can be rest assured that even after you guys have stopped whatever you have going on, you're still going to keep seeing that guy or that girl, because that environment was not created by yourself. It was created by an auxiliary, which is your cousin. In that case, there isn't much you can do about how you eradicate the person from your space. You just have to deal with it maturely. Aside from that, the other case is more serious to me. I feel like the case where, even though, like, let's be honest, people who want to cheat always find very elaborate ways to go about it.
Of course.
Because it's a thought that they have. It's what they call intent. If you have intent, sometimes men cheat or women cheat, and I think intent wasn't in the picture. You could actually have yourself a guy or a girl cheat while she's in a relationship or he's in a relationship. Does it not because he loves to do it or she loves to do it? It's just happening because they just found themselves in the place that kind of like perfectly expose their weaknesses. Because left for me, like, I think on a normal day where you're just a normal guy doing your normal thing, your mind is somewhere else, and you probably don't care about the girl in question that is trying to show interest, or a lot of those things kind of pass you without you ever thinking that way.
What do you think about, like,
the probability that's
like couples becoming friends, like, with each other, like a group of couple and another couple, like, becoming friends? Like, do you think that it could introduce or bring temptation, especially if, like, maybe the one of the couples is like, ooh, that's the spec in terms of, like, physical attraction and all that, like, that can cause issues in terms of not having a platonic.
The reason why I say that's a very good question is because a lot of, especially when you look at, like, because we as the average person, right, our dating pool is quite large. An average person. When I say average person, I mean you're not wealthy, you're not a celebrity, you're not popular, you're not just a regular person.
And when I say couples friend, like, this is like you don't like, it's not like, okay, let's say I'm friends with the lady, and
that's okay.
Yeah, that's different. And this
that's
is like
okay.
you actually just couples that maybe you went for something that you enjoy, maybe like a dance class or something, like salsa dancing, and then you meet this other couple too, and then you start to talk and become friends.
I'll save you the explanation, but I'll tell you, like, that case you're trying to create is quite rare. That a couple become friends together. It's usually one that starts being the friend, and then somehow the other one tags in somewhere. Either the man gets the friend and the woman tags in, or the woman gets the friend and I was heading somewhere before you kind of like took you.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, but that's okay. It's not like I'm complaining. But so what I'm trying to say is basically, of course, there's always going to be a situation where this can go down. The reason why I say that is that, in fact, some people actually, it's a thing for some people, that's their own fetish. If you are the wealthy, your dating pool is smaller. Because I talked about like having a dating pool, like regular person, you have a dating pool that's pretty large. Like anybody else can be your girlfriend, if your boyfriend, if you choose to, and be your wife and be your husband. But when you're a celebrity, you're influential, like you have money, your dating pool becomes smaller because you are mostly trying to stay in a pool that would not be financially draining for you, or might not be a financial gamble for you. Because if you are hanging around people who are not very wealthy, you are like the channel that everybody's looking to benefit from.
So what about work friendships? Like, can you've heard about like work husband, work wife, those things. Yeah. What do you think about that? Do you think it's just? It's just a little, innocent thing. It's nothing serious, like, or do you think it's something that's like, nah, that shouldn't be happening?
Okay. So work wives, I'll get to that one. I wanted to really wrap up the one on, couples having friends that are couples, and just say it's really up to every individual to decide how they want that situation to work out for them. Because I don't know what people do in their spare time. Yeah. It might be their thing to want to have couples for whatever reason. It might just be a pure
depends
friendship.
on what your intention is.
So
some people just like to have, because they feel like they have a lot of single friends, so they want couple friends to go out, so they can relate to on different issues.
That's why every adult have to deal with that one as their own personal. But I have my own personal opinions. It can work it that way. It's kind of an open-ended envelope. So let's let it be. But then let's go back to the one that you just raised now, which is kind of interesting too.
Having a work husband, work wife.
Yeah. So the work husband one, that one is
or just a really friendly opposite sex co-worker that's doing too much.
I wouldn't lie to you.
Not staying in their
this
place.
One is also very difficult for me to answer. Right? It's difficult for me to answer because I've kind of seen different results of that kind of relationship. I've seen it where it's it's healthy, and that it's just probably two people that have similar interests, and they rise themselves through the ranks. So it was good that way. It kind of looked like a tag team, almost like it's a way to get through. And it's like there's really nothing happening sexually. Let's just be honest. At my office, I have cool friends that I don't know what to call people at my office cool friends. I have people that are cool enough that
cool work friends.
Yeah, that we can have a discussion at least for a few minutes in the corridor, and that's it. We're not going to extend that past just the work, but at least we can have that discussion. I can also tell you that I know that.
Have you ever had a work wife?
I'll get to that. Yeah, I know that's where you want. So,
people want to know.
I'll get to that. Let's keep them guessing. Suspense. That's kind of.
Or someone that could have been a work wife.
We'll give you those answers. We know you want to know. But so my thing is just to say, I'm okay with that kind of just having a discussion, right? Just talk, and then everybody go back in. So really, it's not really much of an issue like this. Then now you're asking me if I have a work wife or I have a work buddy.
Do you have a work wife, or did you have a work wife previously?
So you have to start by asking me, do we even actually have people that can be called what's keeping as a work wife?
So
that's the first question.
The answer is no.
So you have to start from where it is and to go to where it was. Because when I go to the office, I'm not the type that steps out of my office and start to just
mingle with people.
Yeah, just go on a goose chase. Because there's some people that there's some people that just wake up, they come out in the morning and they just get in and just start going to other departments and just walking around searching for something and random stuff just to see who they can connect with on any basis.
Chatty patties.
Yeah, the only time you probably will catch me outside randomly is probably if it has to be some kind of random office brunch type thing. Or besides that, if you don't come to my building or come to my office or don't make an appointment to see me, you would highly likely never catch me. Plus, my office is so huge.
Yeah, well, for me, I have never had any work husband, but I've had co-workers of the opposite sex that I'm cool with. for different reasons with whatever work we're doing, and I've had like going out for happy hour after, but like nothing, everything has just been seriously platonic. So, and I wouldn't even if I, like when people say, oh, they have a work husband, so, I'm just like, why? To me, it's weird. Like, why mix work, like business with pleasure, kind of thing? Like, even though you're not really doing anything, but like, I feel like the whole work husband or work wife thing is like maybe they do special things for them, like maybe bring them lunch, or take them out for lunch, bring them like coffee, just little things in the office, maybe cover for them, different like random stuff. Yeah. But like, I don't know. I just feel like it's just. It's playing with fire in a way, especially if you're attracted. It's playing with fire if you're attracted to the opposite sex, the person that is your work husband or work wife. Then you're really playing with fire with that.
I would not suggest, just because the reality is like I don't mix business with pleasure. It is very hard for me to even talk about something like that, right? That's not an option for me, really. But it's not to say that someone can still stupidly get caught by doing something, but I'm just not likely to be your guy for that one. And I think a lot of guys are like that. A lot of guys tend to be more like that. Some guys will still just be honey and do the stupid shit, because the way I can say is like, it's one of the most stupid things to get caught at your job for. If you go somewhere and the aim of why you are there is to make cash, right? Because that's just the truth. Like, a lot of us claim we love our job and all that stuff. Yes, it's true, I agree, we love our job, but most of us can tell the truth to ourselves. But it is what it is. It's an atom of liking what you do, but anything that somebody will not allow you to take a break whenever you choose, or just have a lazy day if you need to, that cannot be something you're doing joyfully consistently. That has to be something that is like, because we all like to take a break from something. I love to play soccer, but still I have times I take a break. Not like today that I went and played in the snow ice, but that's after me not playing for the past 2 to 3 months. So I just said, you know what, let me try and go, and I went there. It was so nice. But anyway,
so yeah, that was it. That's all. That's it. So let's wrap up.
Okay.
So where do you stand on this topic, and what is some advice you want to give to some couples that's struggling with finding like a common ground with their partner on having a relationship with the opposite sex?
Here's what I would say. You have to first know for sure that you actually have a wife or a husband or a boo or a bae that has a work wife or work husband. Because sometimes people are I'm
not talking about just work. I'm talking about like just having relationships of the opposite sex. This whole topic altogether.
So, okay. It still kind of applies, my initial comment.
Okay.
Which is, you have to make sure first that the problem does exist.
Okay.
Because if you don't have your husband that has a woman, or you're just imagining it, or on the other side, you're a man imagining that your wife has a friend of the opposite sex, then you're just fighting a battle that does not exist. So
for people that do have,
right, my own advice would be to don't interfere, and don't tell yourself that, you know what, I'm done with this, I'm out. Because my answer on both sides will kind of vary, right? If it's a man, if a woman is the one dealing with this, I would say there isn't. I feel a woman shouldn't be worried about that. That's something that you can't even control anyway. Just let him make sure that he's doing what he needs to do for you and for your family, and kind of stick it out and try to remind him why he needs to be a better, partner once in a while. Don't nag, but just remind him. Then, yes, if it's a guy and the woman has a work, or like has a friend that is a male or something like that, whatever,
that is not respecting the boundaries that's within her relationship.
Of course, in both cases, yes, you're not expecting about it. Yes, in both cases.
So they shouldn't have a conversation. It should the guy should just end it.
No. I mean, there will be signs and there will be banter, of course, about it. There will be talk for sure, right? But my point is, if it's not making any sense, you better leave.
So if nothing is changing,
you better leave. As it's women, it is that women.
So the other way around, it shouldn't.
Because the truth is that if something is really going on with a woman, women are very emotionally attached. See, if a woman agrees to have anything to do with you, that means she likes you.
So I think that men and women can maintain platonic friendships if they're in a committed relationship with somebody else, but there has to be like trust between each other. There has to be proper communication, and there has to set boundaries. Between them and the friends.
I mean, that's kind of a given.
In their relationship. And also, I mean, I think also it's also nice if in the relationship the friend knows the partner. Like if they know each other, they're familiar with each other, it makes things easier too for that friendship. So it's not like awkward or anything. And if there's some kind of discomfort that's happening within the relationship, I think that conversation needs to be had, because there needs to be some kind of respect in the relationship when it comes to having platonic friendships.
Might not necessarily agree, but anyway, okay.
Don't agree?
Yeah, but I think we can agree to disagree. Adults are going to be adults, right? It's like some of my friends that will tell you, I can't accept that my wife will have friends and go on like travel by herself,
like a
girls trip, or just go out to go leave my side, like go on a trip that you are not on as the guy. You can't accept that, but you as a guy, it's okay for you to go.
Oh yeah, some guys like that.
But again, I also kind of say I don't want to get into those.
That when guys say that, like they don't trust.
Yeah, I don't want to get into the weeds of that discussion. So the reason why I don't want to get into the weeds of that, because like we will start going very deep, and that one will be like will never end. So
yeah, that has to be a topic for another time.
Topic, we can have a part 2 and trash that out completely. But for me personally, the best approach is to let adults be adults. Like someone who has come to the point in their life where they feel like this is what they want to do. When I say this is what they want to do, I mean they want to be in a relationship, they want to be married. I mean certain attributes and certain characters have to be dropped. Yeah. And nobody should tell anybody, nobody should be schooling anybody, because I think if you make a relationship a thing to teach people how to exist, then the question now lies like, how did they exist before they met you? So let them live their life how they want to live it to some extent, but then they should make choices based on what they know is the right thing to do. And that's just my thoughts. I can't be an adult and be telling another adult how to live their life.
If you choose to be in a committed relationship, you should know how you're supposed to act.
Yeah, if you feel like there's something that needs to be discussed, if that arises, we can discuss it as adults, trash it out. But we should not make it a point of duty to kind of like take a ruler and a measuring tape and vernier caliper and walk around like trying to find how to measure people's performance in the relationship. You can do it for fun and laugh at it and laugh about it, but it's not something that should be like a trend, because the moment relationship starts becoming like a schooling event, then people start to get bored and more problems start to surface. So that's just all I have to say with that.
All right. Well, if everyone, it was a good topic actually. Anyone has any more comments about what we discussed, they want to chime in, you can leave a comment. And also,
you can reach us on our various social media handles.
Yes, on Justin. You can Instagram. We're on Instagram, Justin with the Dins, no space, it's just GISTINGWHTHTHDIMS. It's also listed on there. In the description. You can follow us. Don't forget to rate. And any suggestions of any topics you want to talk about, if you want us to do a part 2 on this, let us know.
Yes, sir.
All right, till next time.
It's peace from Gisting with the Dames.
Later. Peace.